Hi friends, welcome once again to the channel. This is TWTV and this is the Wellness Way. My name is Dr. Raymond Pudi. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and let's get interactive. Now, previously we spoke about the abuse of emergency contraceptive pills. We spoke about the effect it has on our body in general. Now, let's talk about the abuse of painkillers. Yes, painkillers. Now, what are painkillers? So they are drugs that we take in to reduce or to relieve pain. Okay. Now, how does all these things come about? Before that, what happens? So when you are injured or when you are in pain, there's an enzyme called COX, C-O-X. We have COX-1 and COX-2. Here it's COX-2, cyclooxygenase. So this COX enzyme would stimulate the release of a substance known as prostaglandins. Okay, so this prostaglandins would travel to the brain and tell the brain that there is something happening. So the brain will tell you that, hey, you are in pain. Okay, so that's how it all works. So when we're in pain, COX would release prostaglandins, it will go to the brain, and the brain will tell you that, hey, my friend, you're in pain. All right. So what painkillers do basically is when you take them in, right, they would look for the COX enzyme, they will bind to the COX enzyme. Once they bind to the COX enzyme, they will prevent the release of prostaglandins, and so you don't have any signal to the brain to tell you that you're in pain. So therefore, you're going to release or reduce the pain. That's all. Now, there are classes of painkillers. Okay, there are opioid drugs, there are non-opioid drugs, there are NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and there are so many drugs under these ones. So just to mention a few, the opioid are those hard drugs like the codeine, morphine, and what have you. And we have the NSAIDs, the aspirin, and then the diclofenac, and the rest belong to the paracetamol, the tramadol, and all those ones fall under that category. And so this is just to mention a few, right? And they are cheap. Okay, they are cheap. They are accessible easily. You can go there without prescription. Okay, and that is what had led to the abuse. And pains too, they are subjective. So what we have mild, we have moderate, and severe pain. But what I will see as mild, you might see as severe. Okay, and so that will lead to the constant, persistent abuse of painkillers. Any small pain we feel, we want to resort to painkillers. Sometimes this pain or these headaches or stomach aches or back aches are just as a result of stress or something else that would resolve naturally by itself. All right, and there are certain pains that will also come as a result of a condition. So unless you take the condition away, your pain will still be there. So let's treat the conditions, then the pain goes away automatically. Okay, so the abuse of these drugs has its own consequences. Now, like any other drugs, there are certain side effects. Okay, so some minor side effects of painkillers could be nausea, could be vomiting, could be some stomach bleeding, could be some type of ulcers and what have you. But this is where it gets interesting. So constant use of painkillers could trigger or could lead to kidney failure and liver failure. Now, note that anytime you take drugs, the liver, that organ called the liver, is what metabolizes the drug, tries to, release or make the active product, then make the non-active ones less harmful for it to be excreted to the or outside the system. So the liver will play a role in trying to metabolize them, okay, and then for it to be excreted. So the more you take in these drugs, the more you put the liver under stress, which will subsequently over time lead to its damage. In the same way for the kidneys, they're the ones that are excreting these drugs, okay, and so over time they might also lose its functions. It has effects of raising your BP, it has effects on your mental retardation, it has effects on even unlikely you can even lead to coma, okay, and even death eventually. So please, as I said, not every pain that we experience that we have to resort to painkillers, because the constant use of painkillers would bring about all these fatal consequences. So please stay away from your constant abuse of painkillers. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching. Bye.